Hello, it's the Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. And today I've got the tank review in the Tier 8 American Premium Tank Destroyer, the XM57. Now, I delayed doing a tank review in this tank until now. That is just because this tank came available in the recent op. They did the Valor op, which I think was a fantastic op. Really enjoyed the op. The only downfall was that this tank was available in that op, but only in the chest. So the only way to earn this was either purchase the mega bundle, which is like 70,000 gold, or try and gamble to get this through the chest, and you couldn't actually earn it but purchase it individually. So that's the only reason I thought, well, I'll do the review after the op is finished, just because I didn't want to encourage people to try and gamble it and not technically be able to earn it if they get unlucky. But that's enough of that. What I'm going to do now is just get on to the review of the tank. So what is this tank then? Well, it is a decently armoured tank destroyer, which has a semi-rotational turret. I think the yaw limit of 75. And then it's got a 630 alpha gun, and it really slaps. You've got 270 penetration on your standard AP rounds with a shell velocity of 900. Then got 315 penetration on your premium APCR rounds with a shell velocity of 1,100. And then on your HE, you got 90 penetration for 900 alpha. And yeah, this gun, to be honest, this tank is actually very good. The armour holds up very well. 7 degrees of gun depression. And you can bounce a lot of shots, especially when you're top tier. And then you just don't shoulder to pen anything, and you just completely slap them. And you fight in tier 8s, this tank is absolutely deadly. It's got a top speed of 35 kilometers an hour, hit points of 1,300, and they've got a reload in this build, which you will see later on in the video, of 13.86 and an accuracy of 0.35. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get into the replay. So I've got 3 games to show this tank off, and we'll talk more about the tank as the video progresses. Okay, so on to the first replay then on Berlin, where we're heavily top tier and there's no enemy fun police in the game. Now, if you want to see the crew and equipment setup I am running in the XM57, you can see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. But this first particular replay is quite a quick replay. I wanted to include it just because it kind of shows off, when you're top tier, just how effective the armour actually can be, and how nasty the gun is. So we're actually going to push up to play the sort of dunes, if you like, or the hills on the right hand side of the map, and just so we can play hold down, use our armour effectively. I think I forgot to mention the concealment on this tank is also pretty decent. In the build I'm running, I've got the concealment down to 242, so you can actually play as that stealthy TD as well if you needed to be, but also you don't really have to, because you can brawl in this tank because it's got that decent armour. So you can see early doors, we're blocking some shots here. We're in a good position where we're hold down to enemy team, and we can wait for our reload to come in and then just slap these tanks, which is exactly what we're doing. We're actually in an awkward situation where we're definitely kind of outnumbered on this flank, and I'm kind of hoping the enemy team don't just all push me, because they all push me at the same time, I'm going to probably die, right? But I'm gambling that they're not going to do that, because they don't know how much is covering me. I'm able to just slap these shots in. Now, I do get penned by that other enemy TD. Like I say, you're not invulnerable to getting penned. That does have decent penetration, but we can bounce a lot of shots. And we've already bounced, 2,200 block damage here. So blocks is just sort of just flying in, and this Emil, this is like, we've got 315 pens. So that Emil there, who's got a tank which is good hold down, we can actually go straight through his turret, and it's kind of filthy. So that's what we're going to be doing in a minute. So we're on about 2,500 damage with our 4 kills. You can see fighting tier 8s and tier 7s, you just ruin their hit point pool when you slap them. They really feel it. Trying to bait this guy out to shoot, and we finish him off there, bouncing a shot in return. Now on 3,200 blocked and 3,000 damage in 11 versus 11. We're pretty much holding this flank almost by ourselves. We had the one tank in the one line, but because these tanks just haven't pushed us together, we're able to just slowly whittle them away. We're on about 4,000 damage now. You can see we go straight through the turret of that Emil. Like I said, this particular game, it's not great in the gameplay, so we're just pretty much in this one location, but it does highlight that, you know, when you are hull down in this tank, you can bounce those shots. You've got pretty decent hull armour, and when you're using your 7 degrees of gun depression to the best you can just bounce those shots. Again, Mill pokes up, just slap him straight through his turret again, land another big one. Now we do have an enemy TD coming behind us. I'm hoping my team take that tank out, because that Borsig gets behind us, it could be nasty for us, because we'll have to turn for him, which we don't really want to do, but I feel like I'm going to have to, because if he keeps going this way, he's going to be able to slap us in the behind, and I don't want that to happen. So I turn, finish off the Borsig there, putting us on the 5,300 damage with 2 kills, and there's only 4 tanks remaining. We should be able to finish off this Emil here. We can afford to push forward and eat a shot if we need to here, but we finished that enemy TD off, confirming our 3rd kill of the game. And yeah, now this game is basically ended, isn't it? You know, can we finish off the Emil? Can we get a 4th kill in this game before this game ends? It looks like we might be able to. We do. We squeezed that shot in. Wasn't fully aimed, and thankfully it connected for us. Getting that 4th kill. Only 1 enemy TD remaining. It's this enemy Emil. He's got no hit points left, and he gets shut down. And that brings us into replay number 1. But we actually got 2 more replays to come. So let's move on then to the final, or the second replay, I should say, of this video. But you see we get 4 kills, 5,400 damage, 3,200 blocks. We do get just shy of 2,000 base XP as well. But yeah, let's move on to the next replay. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2. This time we are on Dragon Ridge Encounter Battle, and it is tier 9 matchmaking, where we've got 1 enemy Fun Police and 2 enemy light tanks to contend with. I'm pretty sure this was actually the first game I had in this tank, and initially I was going to move towards, towards where the cap circle area is. There's kind of like a cliff there where you can use and try and get shots into enemy tanks. Quite often in the counter battle they may start sending stuff towards the cap circle where we can try and get some shots in, but ultimately we're going to push that way and see what we can do. Like I say, we're not the most mobile of tanks. We only have a top speed of 35 kilometers an hour, and yeah, you're not the most mobile of tanks, but considering the decent armor you have and the gun you have as well, it doesn't feel too bad, So as you can see initially, there's quite a few tanks spotted here, which is good because I want to get into a brawl. I want to try and get some shots in. Obviously, I am going to have to be careful that there is an enemy Fun Police. I can get shot from the sky, but we can try and use this cliff. If we're hugging the cliff, it's a little bit, it's difficult for the enemy artillery to get a clean shot into us at least. So we're moving in and just going to see what we can do when we get there. There's about sort of 5 or 6 tanks spotted in that area. And I just want to get into this brawl and try and get some shots in. Obviously we have to be alert of the fact that it's Dragon Ridge. There'll probably be tanks in the back line sniping on the back ridges. So we have to be careful that these tanks will probably have cover from enemy TDs. So we push into this position. If anyone goes into the cap circle, we should have shots. And tanks like this Waffle has got detected at the back on the back ridge. Was able to squeeze in a lovely shot in there where we high roll. So a good start of the game, picking up just shy of 700 damage. Spot the enemy light tank who is left on a 1 shot. So if he pokes up there again, we'll be able to get some shots in. And we're just going to have to be a little bit patient at the start of this game. We've already lost, 3 tanks, so the enemy team do have the advantage on the hit points and the tank lead here. So not a great start for our team, but there's a long way to go yet. So we just need to hang in there, just look for these shots. It's one of those ones where we just have to be patient. We're going to have to wait for the damage to come to us. It will come. We just need to be aware of that. We don't want to go and throw our tank away. We spotted an enemy Waffle, or Waffle got spotted on the back ridge. We have no idea what gun he's got. So if we get detected and we push too far across, these tanks are going to have shots at us. So we might just try and blind fire locations where we think tanks might be. And we actually hit a tank there, so there was someone there. Typically we don't pen, we only do critical damage there, but we do at least know there was a tank in that location. Now an enemy Brass gets spotted doing the full crazy, coming behind us. Going to try and land a big shot into him here. Unfortunately I should have aimed higher, not a great shot, should have slapped him there, but I might get a second opportunity to get a shot into this enemy Brass. who looks like he has dumped his clip now. So I don't want this tank to escape or get away with that, to be honest. I want to make sure I hit this shot. We connect, we high roll, puts him on a one shot. He gets shut down by our friendly waffle there, and at least that threat is dealt with. And we've actually gone from losing to taking the lead early doors. Now there's an enemy Motherland who's poking in this cap. If he pokes like that again, we may actually get an opportunity to get a shot into him. So that's what we're waiting for. As you say, we're being careful. We're getting targeted though. Got to be careful we don't get sniped from the back. And then we get off to a great start because we detonate his ammo rack for pretty much full health there, putting us under 2,000 damage with our third shot of the game. So yeah, off to a great start. And that is the thing, because you've got a big high caliber gun on this tank, you can get those ammo racks, and you do a lot of critical damage when you pen these targets. So off to a decentish start with a lot of hit points left remaining. We may have to resort to doing a few more blind fires. You saw a shot tracer come there. Looks like enemy T30 gets spotted, but he gets into hard cover before I'm able to get a shot in myself. And I'm just keeping an eye out for tracers, looking like, can I get some blind shots in at these enemy tanks? That one doesn't go my way, but I might keep trying it while there's nothing spotted. You can see we've applied cap pressure. That means enemy tanks, if they're going to want to win the game, they have to come and get the reset. So they are going to come close, and that is going to give me an opportunity to get some shots in. But we do squeeze in a lovely blind fire, which I'm guessing was onto that waffle or something in the distance there. And we put ourselves onto 3,000 damage. And I say, it's always worth it. You've got nothing to shoot at. On maps like this, just have an educated guess where you think a tank might be, because more often than not there is a tank there. There's certain positions where tanks will just stay, and when you get the hang of it, you can just start blind firing those positions, and you pick up free damage when you had no other damage available to you. So enemy team have taken the lead again. It's mainly because our tanks in the cap circle. It's not a great place to cap out. But we're going to have to move now because we've lost the other side of the map. You can see we've lost the 7, 8, 9 line. If I stay where I am, it was not going to end well because tanks will come behind me. I need to reposition. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reposition to this side of the ridge. And now if the tanks start to sneak up behind, I'll be able to get shots into them, or at least that is my plan. And it also keeps me safe from the enemy fun police. He's unlikely to be able to get some shots into me here when I've got this big mounted here to protect myself. So an enemy medium tank does get spotted here. It's starting to not look so great for our team though here, is it? Now we do finish off that light tank, but it has put us onto a 3 versus 8. And yeah, I'm starting to think at this point, we might not win this game. But what we're going to do is just dig in till the last possible moment. Because you never know, this is how you end up getting colour bam offs, etc. When you just dig in and don't give up, because you never know what might happen. So that's just what we're going to do. We're going to dig in. I'm not going to go pushing out because I can't. It's an 8 versus 3. I'm not in a quick mobile tank. The only thing I can really do, the only logical thing I can do in this situation is just wait for the tanks to come to me. If I go in the cap circle, I'm an easy target. So I'm just going to wait here, and it's worked out okay for me because the tank's poked and we put another shot into that enemy heavy tank. Perhaps put him onto a one shot, put us onto 4,000 damage. Now, unfortunately, I should have got lower on this ridge because I've kind of allowed that enemy heavy tank. I was slipping there on the rock, which was on the ridge, which was annoying, and it's cost me a shot of my hit points, which is not ideal. We do finish off the enemy light tank, I believe, though, that WZ, and it has put us onto 2 versus 7, though. We're on just shy of 5,000 damage with 3 kills, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is not good because there's tanks which I know are pushing down the 1-2 line coming behind us. I really want to finish off this enemy one-shot heavy tank. Now, I could have swapped to the HE, but the thing is, I've got 315 pen. I'll go through his turret anyway, so if he presents a shot, I want to have that, I don't want to have the HE loaded just in case a different target approaches us as well. But at this point, I've gone into full survival mode, and I'm just backing up and making myself as hard as I possibly can to deal with. I just want to get another shot out of this game at this point. I'm in a 1 versus 7 now. Let's be honest, very unlikely I'm winning this, but maybe we can get another shot. Maybe we can get another 2 shots. If I stay like this, I'm going to spot them first, and then I'm going to be able to get a shot in. So I might as well wait and just try and get the most out of the game I possibly can. So I know there's TDs coming this way. Waffle comes around. Annoyingly, is full hit points. We do get a shot into him. He misses his shot. That means I'm probably going to get a second shot into this tank. Unfortunately, his friend comes to back him up. That's not ideal, but we do at least get a shot in. We set him on fire. Puts us on about 6,000 damage. And like I say, although we wasn't going to win, at least we just went out with a bang and just got as much as we could. And we ended up getting, what, 6,000 damage, 3 kills. So we do have a decent game, but obviously it was a loss there. But we've got one more replay to come, so let's move on to the final replay. Okay, so we made it for the final replay then, where we are on Berlin. We are top tier again, and it is the encounter battle. There's one enemy light tank, there's one enemy fun police, and initially we're going to push down the free line, and you know, because quite early doors there is a position where I can play hold down, and I might spot some tanks through that gap and able to get some shots in. So that's what we're going to do initially. We're just going to go to the quickest place where I think I might get a few damaging shots off. So as we make our advance here, you can see we've got a hold down position we can play off. We're just going to wait and see if anything crosses, see if we can get some shots in. An enemy tank destroyer, Soviet TD, gets spotted, and we slap a big one, putting him onto, you know, picking up our first penetration there with just under 600 hit points. And yeah, and I can already see on the mini-map that there is some tanks on the sort of F8, 9 line, kind of waiting a little bit patiently. But I'm also thinking I might try and take an aggressive position to deal with those tanks. It looks like there's quite a few tanks on the 9-0 line. And if I can get into this middle centre area, I can get a position in. If I get there early, before they cross, when they start to cross, I'll be able to get some shots in. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm moving in to try and get these shots into these tanks here. One of the enemy medium tanks AMBT crosses, and we managed to connect that shot, picking up our first kill of the game, putting us onto a decent start here. And again, we're hoping we can just do the same really, just get those more shots in. I'm just checking that I can't get shot from behind, but I think I'm okay. And we've got this AT-15 here, which we can put shots through his cupola. Put a big one in, puts onto about 1,600 damage. And yeah, if his tank stays where he is, we're going to kill him. So we're just waiting. Does anything else cross? Looks like his enemy medium crosses. We just squeeze one in. We don't quite finish him off though, but it puts us on to about 2,200 damage. Great start to this game. So far every shot we fired has connected. Looking to finish off the AT-15 here. I think we're probably going to get the opportunity to, and we do pick up another pen, pick up another kill, and it's quite a fast-paced game, this one, where we just need to get in. I've seen this full health heavy tank, and I'm thinking that's a lot of hit points. I want to try and get my shots into this tank here. Even if I eat one in return, I can out-trade him. Thankfully, I don't need to eat one because he bounces, and we put a big shot in, putting him to 3,000 damage. Waiting for our reload to come off, and we're just going to do the same. We're just going to get rid of this enemy heavy tank quickly, because then we can get onto the more damage on this game. So we're going to try and get this shot in. We do straight for his lower plate. He bounces in return. We put us on to about 4,000 damage, putting him onto a one-shot to us. Our friendly Soviet TD goes in for the finish there. Unfortunately, he doesn't manage to connect that shot, but I should be able to finish him off anyway, and I do. Connecting for our 9th pen or 8th pen for 3 kills now, 4,000 damage. Just thinking, where is the most hit points? There's a heavy tank pushing around here, which I might be able to cut off and get some rear shots in. There's still 2 mediums in a platoon in the sort of G9 area. So I'm thinking, right, let's just kill this heavy tank, move on and try and get the damage in those mediums because they look pretty healthy. So we put a big shot in through his engine deck there. I don't want to get shot by the mediums when I poke, but there is a sort of building actually stopping that happening. And now I'm thinking, right, oh, do I just try and nick the kill here? No, he gets shut down before I can. And I'm going to make a beeline for these mediums. There are 2 mediums in a platoon, but this tank is honestly brutal. Yeah, if you can stop tanks getting behind you, then when you're top tier, it's kind of devastating. So we move around and we're going to try and get some shots in here in these poor little tier 7 medium tanks here. Put one in, put us on the 5,200 damage. He tries to cross him. We're full health, so we can afford to eat some shots. And I was thinking, is he going to create the angle? He's actually just ran. He's actually just ran and left his teammate there. So, yeah, he has left his little platoon mate in a bit of bother. I'm just going to push this guy now and just try and finish him off. He's a one-shot to us. We're still reloading, so we need to close the distance. We're on just shy of 6,000 damage here. And there's still 6 tanks remaining, but only 7% hit points. Now we do get that shell in, connecting for our what, 4th kill of the game. 4 tanks remaining, but only 4% hit points. So some of these tanks are, you know, not very healthy. But as we make our advance, I think we actually see the Arsley fire, and we got a good, well, we know where he is. He's going to be in this sort of K9 area. I'm hoping he's got all of his hit points, so we can try and get closer to the 7,000 mark. But we do come round. He's only on 400 hit points, so annoyingly. We're going to make sure we aim this shot. We don't want to miss it, and we do manage to connect that kill. Shame he didn't have all his hit points, because we could have got over 7,000 if he did. But we do manage to get to about 6,744 damage with 5 kills. We've got 2,171 base XP, but that's only a first class. That's because not many people have this tank at the moment. And yeah, the mark is set really high. You know, 2,000, just shy of 2,200 base XP is normally an ace tank and pretty much most tanks. But anyhow, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your amazing support, and happy tanking.
Enemy in sight. Hadouken!